everybody, it's Lex from PDQ.com. Got a new release. Yeah, 19.1.96. Inventory and deploy. I'm going to take you through some of the new features with it. Well, let's be honest. I'm going to take you through some of the things that run in the background. And I'm going to let Jordan come in here and show you guys the actual new features on it. So let's just jump in. First thing you guys need to know right out the gate is, if you notice right here, I ran a scan right there. .NET 4.0 is not installed. It is required now. I gotta say,
4.8.
Thank you. 4.8. I need to learn how to read. 1. See, this is the problem. I actually told Tim, hey buddy, I know I told you this the other day, you only have to have it on the console, but if you want to be able to do inventory scans on your machines, you do have to have 4.8 on all the end nodes. Let me show you how to do that. It's super easy. Download the .NET Framework 4.0 from our package library.
4.8.
Dang it, I'm going to keep saying 4.0. You just keep saying 4.8 every time I do that. .NET 4.8. There we go.
There we go.
It's been one of those days, guys. It's only early. I'm going to set it to Squanchy. So again, guys, deploy once. Squanchy is right here trying to run, and I know it. I just kicked the scan off. I know it needs it, so we're just going to deploy to, and I can't spell Squanchy, so I'm going to actually go pick it out of the computers on. There it is. Boom. Highlight, grab it, deploy now. Really that simple. Select all, run them. I haven't really run into any issues in the background updating these. Jordan, have you run any issues?
Well, we just installed all of our web lab with it like 20 minutes ago, so we'll find out. Well,
we tried. We installed a bunch, and then we hit a bunch of aborts so that we could show you guys some stuff. So I've got some that don't have it. While that's installing, let's talk about some of the other changes we've got. If you want to find out what the changes are, if you go to the welcome page right here in inventory, what's new? The scanner to rule all scanners. Again, you can read through here. Hit the change log right there. Again, if you're literate, unlike myself who keeps saying 4.0 instead of 4.8, read that. That'll give it all to you right there. I'm just going to run you through a couple other things. Testing multiple addresses in name resolution has been combined with the ping before scanning, so they'll be pinging multiple. The other place you're going to see that is on the heartbeat. If you go to options, preferences, under network, there's your heartbeat. It looks a little different. It is now going to automatically test multiple addresses there. With that, we've made some scan as and some other changes. And before I bring Jordan up, I'll show you guys my cleaning skills. Why do y'all laugh? Because we know I don't clean. Anywho, there it is. I'm wondering if I'm typing and stuff. I'm not. Boom, clean. Whew. Jordan, you want to take over and talk about scanners and scan as and the whole bit?
Let's do it.
Coolio. Thanks, man.
All right. If anyone was betting that I wouldn't show my face on camera again after last week, I've got no shame. I'll come up here constantly make a fool of myself. Let's see, so the first thing that we changed was a scan as option for the scan profiles. Let's say we'll just use applications for the example.
You know, I like your shirt while you're doing that. It matches the title of the webcast.
It is a Kelly homage.
How did that come into be, Kelly?
Well, every once in a while, we'll get a question that has, a very long address or a lot of just technical, long stuff. And so instead of trying to read it all, I just got to the point where I would say nerd, blah, 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 or blah, blah, nerd. And that's how it happened.
We made a shirt.
All right. I like how every time a whim strikes, like, let's make a shirt.
Let's make a shirt.
We should give this one away.
Yeah, we actually have a spare set of vinyl. I did promise that to my wife, but I'm happy to disappoint her. I'm happy to disappoint her.
All right.
I love my wife very much.
If you're watching.
Well, that's a cheap shot to try and recover from that, man.
I think she's actually at a school function where my daughter's getting introduced to the teacher, so I think I'm safe. So what we added is instead of just the scan user, you now can set it as the logged on user and the local system. Scan user is going to work for most cases, but there are times where having that option, like when it is necessary, it's gonna save you a lot of time. It's just gonna gives you some options on how you can scan as. Just a quick, I love that addition, especially with PowerShells. Well, it used to be for AppX where it was had to be for logged on user. It would have been real handy there, but not so much now. Thanks, Windows fixes. All right. So I guess the next thing we want to go over, this isn't really for the release, but we kind of rolled it out with the release, and it's our GitHub repository, which is just GitHub PDQ PowerShell Scanners. If we go in here and look at the scanners in there, a lot of these are submitted by you guys. I think at this point there's more user submissions than there are from the company, which is fantastic. Everything that goes in here, if you've written something as a scanner and you think people can use it, send it over to us. I mean, the more we have in here, the more value. There's a lot of really good
Community taking care of community. I love it.
We have two awesome communities here. We've got the PDQ community and the PowerShell community, and both are very strong. So I think this could be something really great. But if you're looking to update, just right here on the main page, it has first to do the install. We have something about the PowerShell scanner doesn't support variables. That has changed. This will change as well. So just ignore that. Ignore that. But you can see here we have the command for either your initial clone or how to update it, how to pull the new stuff. And we're going to go to the git command. You can see that I actually tested this one. I don't know what has me testing stuff now. You come in here and just run
Fear.
Fear.
point to the folder and do a git pull, and it's going to go through and it's going to update if anything has changed. This one's already up to date because you can see it.
So time out. Can I grab onesie twosies, or do I just clone the whole thing, or can I do both?
So this one we just do a git pull. I'm not real familiar with Git on if you can grab an individual one, but it's very small. There's no reason not to just do a git pull and grab them all.
Grab
It doesn't put them into the product for you.
Okay.
It just downloads them so you can import them into your product. So we've done the git pull. So if we go to inventory, we can showcase adding that. It's just import, and then it puts it at C PowerShell Scanners. So we have the scanners in there, and we're going to do, I don't know, what's a good one to do, the host file one. Which you usually do. This one basically goes out, looks at a host file, and sees if anything's been added, which would have saved me a lot of time when someone changed our MX address in my group policy in the host file.
Oopsie.
Yeah, that was a bad time. So just that, it imports right in there, and you just have a list of, if it imports from us, it's going to be PS dash and then the name of what it is, and they do different things. I think, I don't know, I can't stress enough how much I love the GitHub. It's got a lot of value.
I love the fact that someone else already did most of the thinking for me. All I have to do is go modify it if I want to.
Yeah, not thinking is my favorite part as well.
Automating and not thinking. Yeah.
Yep. Another addition that came out with this one is just under options. We used to only have scan profiles, but now we have new scanner where you can specify what kind of scanner you're looking for. We got the most important one right there, PowerShell new.
What?
Yeah. This is the best scanner. We're going to dive into this one. I know we went over it with the beta. There are some changes. We're just going to cover all of it. I think there's a lot of really good information. So let me look at my sheet, make sure I'm not getting off track here.
Getting off track? Did I derail you?
Well, I do that on my own. I don't need help. I'm going to assume that's centered.
You know, it's interesting. Anytime I get derailed, I always ask you a question. So, Jordan, what do you think about what I just talked about? It happens to work.
So this is the basic PowerShell scanner. See how I just shrugged them off there? Lex has no power here.
Dang it.
We have two options here. You have either the file or the script. They both work great. I would recommend doing the file itself. If that way, you're not worried about, first of all, the file. You can open that up in a script editor. It's easier to modify, easier to edit. And if you have multiple machines pulling from that script, you only have to edit it once instead of going to each one and then grab the script and modify it. It saves us time. So both work. Script works fine, but we'd recommend going with the file. So I guess should we go over a couple of the best practices?
Well, I definitely need to know what those are.
Okay, so a question.
Hey, Jordan, Lex, and Colby. Every now and again, Deploy shows I have unused software down on the bottom right. Is there a way to automate the removal of old versions? Thanks. Love the live casts. Sincerely, Chris.
I don't know if we have a CLI to automate that one.
Automate it?
Yeah.
Here's the danger of automating that. Let's say Jordan and I were both using it, and I put a bunch of stuff in the repository that's not actually attached to a package yet. I haven't done that. He goes in and cleans that out. It's going to delete that. Anything that shows up there is not associated with a package. Am I saying that right, Colby?
That is correct.
So automating that, I mean, you can go find a location and go delete, I guess, but I wouldn't do it just because of the fact that you might get some stuff you don't want. Now, Colby had a best practice on that a couple of weeks ago about building a custom folder, putting your stuff in that and then excluding that folder, and then you don't have to remember it. But
Yeah, quick to showcase where it's coming from. If you're in Undeploy Preferences, go to Repository. There's a button there for See Unused Files, or there's a checkbox that lets you know that see the warning at the status bar there. But this is basically just files that are in there that are no longer tied to an existing package. It doesn't necessarily mean they don't have value anymore. It's just currently it's not part of a package. So if you just by default clear all that out and you delete something you need, if it's a MSI you can download, that's a quick fix. But if it's something you built yourself, you have a chance to delete something that's not necessarily easy to replace.
don't fall into an oops.
Yeah. All right. So I guess for the first best practice is sometimes we're going to run commands that are going to give us information that we just don't really need, but the scanner is going to return results if it has them. So we're going to run installed module. Ooh, got it. PS Windows update. And I didn't test if this was already on this one, so it's not installing. So it's an error. So it's apparently not installed on this one. It's okay. It's okay. That's we have a script in there. I'll actually showcase a good chance to showcase the script on how we find that one.
Absolutely. And you're going to run into this periodically. Obviously, you run something, you're going to get errors, and this is the troubleshooting portion of today.
Oh, and this one's not even really troubleshooting. It's just the command isn't the exact same, but the results we're going to go over will be the same. So PowerShell Scanners is the shared one. This is something that I believe Colby put in there, where if you have a script that it's going to be calling a module, and you don't know if it's going to be on the remote machine, this will test to see if it's there. If it's not, it will help you get it installed. This one is it's pretty fantastic.
That's way fantastic.
Fancy, as Chris would
Fancy,
say.
it is very fancy. So basically what he has here is it does the same thing I did, where he has get installed module, the module name. In this case, we're doing PS Windows Update, but it's just a variable name. And what we're talking about is getting results we don't want. So if this one does the get and it throws an error, you're going to see that, or if it comes back with results. So he did here $null equals. So all the results that it gets is still going to do the test, it's still going to import, but all the results that it's going to get, it's just going to ignore and not send it onto your machine. So it just kind of helps keep your results from your scanner clear. So let's see if we want to go through and add it. Then he basically gets the package provider NuGet and then does the install module once we have that. And it's all the same thing. So each one of these, the install provider, the get installed, the install module, they all have output that we don't want to see in our results, but we do need them to run. So just putting the $null equals will remove a lot of input or a lot of information that you don't want there.
Yep, and using the null equals is the same thing as piping to out null, but it can be faster in some situations.
Yeah. So that I always did the pipe to out null. I just saw Colby did $null and I didn't question it because Colby did it the right way. I did it the way I learned. I don't question if Colby has something. I might ask later why, but if it's in there, it's right. That's the advantage of work with Colby. Another best practice is you're going to want to have error handling, especially if things that you know are could be an issue. So let's say we did we're looking for a get service. We're going to name this one Awesome McCool.
Awesome McCool.
Naturally.
Yep.
I love the names you come up with.
It's a very scientific process.
It's what we all aspire to be, awesome McCool.
Yeah. And this
no,
one we're only
no camel case or what would you call it? Scottish case?
Scottish
in this case?
Well, a lot of time when I do typing, I do camel case plus, where I capitalize the first two of every rule.
I just randomly drop
That's not
capitals in and spell it wrong.
All right, so in this case, we're just gonna put that into a variable, cool variable, because I'm feeling awesome today, guys. I'm feeling awesome. So if you run this, it's just gonna grab the status. If it is running or stopped, it's gonna go in and it'll let you know that the result's running or stopped. Or if it doesn't exist, it's gonna throw an error, which is why it's probably best to put. This is the default action, but error action silently continue. That's the default, but it doesn't hurt to be safe just in case something's changed it in there. It's just in case. So basically, we're in that, we're testing the variable. If the variable's working, or if it's not working for some reason, we just want to do a if statement. An is statement. Is variable. Var, and then we're going to not equal.
Did you say cool var? Because you typed something different.
Oh, cool car. Cool car.
Cool car.
Cool car.
Natural inclination.
I was going to say, we didn't switch out my keyboard, did we?
I don't even have a cool car anymore.
You're still thinking about running into your garage.
Oh.
Yeah. Plus, Jordan is using Lex's fingers to type. So
I thought I had grown as a person when I first did it because I didn't instantly become angry, but it turns out I just festered. And around 2 a.m, I'm like, all right, I got to go do something. I couldn't sleep. I was very upset. I didn't realize how vain I was till I bought that truck.
You know, it's interesting. You just ball up all that anger, and eventually it comes out.
at 2 a.m, he wakes
2 in
up
the
just
morning.
screaming his wife. "Ah!"
All right, so we have in here basically if the cool var, now that I got it correct, thanks JJ, is not equal running. So if the service doesn't exist, it's going to throw an error, but we're silently continuing, so it'll be nothing or an error. Or if it is stopped, then it also won't go. And it's just basically, no, this is a hilarious error is what I put in there. But you could put actual information you could use, like service is not running, or awesome McCool is not running.
Time out. I put the awesome McCool service on all the machines.
But is it running?
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah. And so this is just a quick way, if you put this on the top of your script, if it's something like the command only exists in Windows 10 and you want to basically test for the command, you can throw the error, this command requires Windows 10, or in this case, if the var is not, the service is not running, nailed it. You can put something more specific. So instead of just getting a general error that you get from PowerShell, which does have all the information in there, you have something specific that you're looking for. So I guess we'll throw this into one real quick just to highlight it. See if I did it right. New scanner. And I know I said use file, but here I am putting it right in the script anyway. And this one's service. All right.
Yeah, you're going to run this, but you're going to find out awesome and cool. I actually did go and start it on all those machines.
It's a real
Joke is
service.
on you, man.
Doing it live is what we're going to name this scanner.
Doing it. I've never had a problem with that, ever. How about you?
All right, so as you see, I just went and chose the scanner. Once I finished building it, it actually popped up the scan profile automatically, so I can build a new one. So we've got that. Let's go to a list of computers. We'll try Chloe. Scan that one with doing it live, and I didn't preempt it with PS-. I broke our own naming scheme.
Shame.
I feel shame as a minor action.
That's okay. I'm actually thinking of removing the PS dash.
Why would you do that?
There we go.
Just to mess with Jordan?
All right, and so you see there, awesome McCool is not running with that perfectly straight line.
Now run it on Allen Rails.
Just be happy
See
I
if-
used it.
If
I am.
awesome and cool is running on Allen Rails, I dare you.
Yeah.
I dare you.
On Allen, or we'll do Allen Rails.
I'm just kidding, man. It's not on there.
I didn't figure it would be, but I was willing to.
You were going to take your call my bluff, were you?
Call your bluff, yep. All right, the next thing to kind of look into is grabbing exactly what you want. So if I'm doing, I don't know, get ACL, is that one? Yeah. And then path. I don't want to. I don't have a file ready to go. But if you're doing get ACL, it's going to come back with a lot of information. But if all you want is the file permissions of that one, you want to do select and select the specific one you're looking for, or in the case of the permissions from GetACL, it's an expandable property. You could do select expand if you wanted to grab more data that way. But that way you're not grabbing all the information that you don't need. And then an even better way to do that, that's if you're just doing the select. That does work kind of neat, but I'm actually going to go into one of the user submissions to show a
If
better
I were
way
just to run that, I mean, I'd get a lot of data back.
Yes, if you run just that, it's going to come back with a lot. And not all of it is
Eventually, if
useful.
I do a bunch of those, my database is going to grow and I'm going to see some performance issues over time.
Yeah, you just want to keep that as clean as possible.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to go into the scan profiles and important events. By the way, Ben, who submitted this one, I've used this in so many of my examples. Thank you for this script. It's awesome. We're going to go into that one and open it up just to kind of see well, that's not what I wanted to do at all. My right-click edit is missing. That's what I'm missing. So we're going to go into the File Explorer and see.
It's interesting how we remap some of those keys so we can do stuff on the webcast and you're used to it and you're like, dang it.
Yeah, things change slightly. It throws everything off. And we're going to go find important events.
Good, you should do it by the mouse anyway.
And you should do it by mouse anyway.
And people can see what you're doing.
They can't hear you typing,
Yeah,
which is probably good because they might be able to hear your passwords.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. I'll type that into the chat.
We know.
So what this one does is it goes into your event viewer and it looks for specific levels. You can specify, you can see here the event level between critical and informational. But at the very end of it, you can see here he's building a custom object where he's basically, he grabs everything that he wants and then from the custom object he's putting in the specific things that he wants, and he has just a little bit more control. And instead of having to go through and do calculated properties at the end with his select, he can just do it within the custom object, and this will give you a lot more control on what your data looks like. So select is nice, but if you really want to make sure you're grabbing exactly what you want, doing a PS custom object is definitely what I would recommend.
Yep, PS custom objects are amazing. We use them extensively throughout the examples in the GitHub repo.
Mm-hmm. All right, I guess last best practice is sometimes you can't always see what it is you're grabbing or what the results are going to be. You run it one machine, but it's not exactly what it's going to look like. If you throw that out to out-grid view, it's going to give you a better idea of what it will look like after you run the scan. So we're going to go back to Apex Packages because I am brave. And we're going to select the name and install location. So if we run it just like that, I mean, you see the results that you get, but if you want to see what it's kind of going to look like within inventory, just pipe that into out-grid view.
Does that make it easier to select exactly what you want to? I mean, when it goes into grid view?
Well, yeah, so in grid view, it's actually probably less important to be specific because it pops out a window that is filterable and searchable with everything, so yeah, a bit more control. But say I did this in out-grid view, it kind of lets you know this is what it's going to look like if you ran get Apex package on the machine inside the scanner results window.
Yeah, and one thing I'd like to point out there is that by default, PowerShell has formatting rules. So like if you run get child item, you'll only see like a few columns, but the actual object has like 20 properties or something like that.
Yeah, and a lot of times like the properties they're showing are actually commands within it that grab the results. And
Yeah.
It's not just a direct property that it has in there or that does conversion in the back end.
Right, but out-grid view will show only that formatted view, so you only get those few columns, whereas in the PowerShell scanner, we show all properties.
Yeah.
So so you always want to use a select, and maybe even a select star to actually get it to match up to what you'll see in inventory.
Yes, the select object is something where, since I started with Active Directory a lot, it's the only command module I know out there that it doesn't by default include all the properties. Like you have to specify additional properties outside of the few default, otherwise it won't even grab them in the search. So that's where I'm always coming from. Like I've actually tried to specify properties in other commandlets, and boy, do I look foolish. All right, do we have any other questions?
Hey, Jordan and the PDQ team. With PowerShell Scanners, PDQ Inventory basically becomes a script scheduler because said scripts don't actually have to return data, even though that was intended. What do you think about that way of using PowerShell scanners? Sincerely, Max C.
I mean, absolutely. It doesn't have to return results. You can physically do things with it. I actually have removed Apex packages with the scanner. So it works, but we just kind of, with deploy, if you're doing it that way, you get a bit more of the reporting back on how it was successful and whatnot than you would get from just the scanner. You can do it. I would still rather use deploy for it. If that makes
I would
sense.
say the right tool for the right job.
Yeah.
I mean, deploying printers, it's a GPO job, right? If you're going to deploy scripts, deploy it. Use deploy. I mean, you can run them, but,
Yeah, but that, if it works for you, great. Like,
It's not against the rules.
yeah, you're not breaking any sort of licensing agreement by doing it. All right. So I guess one of the changes that came in recently is, oh, I'm not centered. Look at that. All right. Is when it first came out, when you got like a data back, like a number, and it wasn't always sorting correctly, like kilobytes, megabytes, and we added things to where now if you scan with that, it will now sort properly in the scanner window. We're going to use the profile size scanner to showcase that. Running against all of them, he said with confidence.
he said with confidence. Are you narrating?
Jordan was feeling pretty good.
Little
about
did
the
he know.
script he was writing.
Inner monologue. I love it. Panic set in as it ran a little bit long.
All right, so let's go into, I guess, Clogan, where you can see the PowerShell scanners here. I did not size that window. Sorry, JJ.
I noticed.
Talk about yourself in the third person there, Jordan.
No, that was a real apology.
Oh, was it? Jordan apologizes.
Yeah.
I think when you remoted into this, it just threw all the windows off balance.
It usually does. I have to recenter
Oh,
pretty
it
much
does.
every Thursday before doing that. I just didn't actually open one of these in the pre-show because.
All right, I got a tip for you after the show. We'll talk.
Okay. All right. So you can see here, if we can open up that command first real quick. What we're doing, profile size.
Yep, user profile size.
Uh-huh. So this one's basically, it's doing a get child item, and then within the directory where user profiles are, and it's going through and it's grabbing results. The folder size that it's returning is in bytes. So if we run this for just this machine, we have a strict execution policy. So I hide it and run it as F8 because now we're secure. You can see the results here. They're in bytes. But if we come in and look at the results in the scanner, it converted that into megabytes for you. Or, I mean, luckily none of them are gigabytes. We're doing good on controlling our profile size, guys. High fives all around.
Fun.
Yep. So it makes it so the sorting is easier for you. The information you get back is easier. It just works, I think, all around better.
Yep, and we have a few specific rules about how to determine if a column should be treated as a file size. I'm working on an article. It'll might be a blog, might be in the documentation. I'm not sure yet. That will kind of explain it in detail. But the basic parameters are that it needs to be a 64-bit integer. The name needs to contain size, length, or space. And there's one more that I'm forgetting, but there's several rules so that we're not just treating all number properties as file size. We're trying to automatically determine which ones should be treated that way.
Okay. Yeah, and so far, I mean, whatever logic they have in there, I'm not going to pretend to understand how developers work, but it has worked for me when I needed to. That's been nice. All right. Do we have any other questions? Oh, just carry on? Okay. All right. Another thing we have, and I'm going to go back into the scanner we were showcasing earlier, the important events. Before, as you saw in there, it had a whole bunch of parameters specified where you can specify what event log, how many days to go back, how critical the event you want to look at is. And before it was not always really clear on what to be impacting, so we added a little tooltip where if you hover over it, it'll let you know these are the parameters looking for, and this is the data type that it's looking for. So you can go through and see. it's not giving the description in there, but I mean, days, event limit, it's pretty clear what it's looking for in there, which is why on this one it's the same scanner twice. It just changes the parameters on which one it's looking for and how severe. This one's system and event level 1, where we'll report back for that one. That makes it. Oh, were you saying something?
No, go ahead.
I think so. That just makes it so you don't have to dive into the script necessarily to see how to customize it. So you can use the same scanner over and over if it's been parameterized properly. Which if I wrote it, no.
Yeah, and a fun change that this particular feature prompted is that now all tooltips have an infinite duration, because they used to go away after 5 seconds, which was really annoying on this feature.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I'm glad I don't have to test the early stages of things anymore, because the frustrations hearing about that gives me anxiety. That's your problem. All right, so the next thing, and this is what we're kind of talking about earlier when we showed the GitHub repository, where we said it doesn't accept variables. As you can see now, any custom variable that you have in there, you can throw into your path. So if you have a specific location, you can just toss it in there. It makes it so right now we still, if you follow the documentation we have, it's going to put it in the C drive PowerShell Scanners. But if you are copying that somewhere else, you can create a variable within Windows or within your script, and you can automatically update that without having to worry about it. It would just, I guess it's always PowerShell variables, makes it easy. You don't have to edit so many things. You have a lot more control.
Yeah, and I'm going to wait a little while for this recent release to trickle out, and then I'll update the repository and use variables for things like the file path.
All right, so fantastic. So if you have been using our GitHub, it sounds like things may be changing. So would they want to do a complete new clone, or would they still want to just do a pull and it would update?
These particular variables will really only affect you on newly imported profiles. Okay. There's not really much of a reason to edit ones that you've imported previously.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I guess last thing is, if you had a scanner you're modifying, it wasn't always clear what it would be impacting. So we're going to come in here and we're going to make a new collection. Right-click New Dynamic Collection. And from the filters, I believe you can just choose, instead of the computer table, I believe PowerShell does show up, and there's a different one you can select for each scanner. And we are going to use user profile size, and I don't know, size, we'll say less than, gigabytes is less than 5 megabytes. All right, and then for I'm hitting the wrong button. So I'm copying that, so we can delete that. We can delete the all. So yeah, so this is just dynamic collection of small profiles, I guess. Not really a great real world example, but I didn't put a lot of forethought into it. So we're just going live, small profiles. All right, so now if I come into the PowerShell Scanner, and let's see, profile size, I'm going to do edit. Missing my edit button is killing me. You guys are killing me. So I'm just going to come in, copy that. You can't change things on me. I don't handle change well.
It's time you just move completely and permanently into the studio then.
Yeah. At least I did the exact same mistake 3 times in a row.
Right.
I've shown growth as a person there. This time I acknowledged I was going to walk into the mistake. And now that I think about it, it's not even about changing the script, it's about messing with the scanner itself. So this was not necessary.
So you're telling me you're going to drive into your garage again this week?
I'm probably going to drive into the garage again. Yeah, so it's actually right down here. You're looking for, you have scanner in use, and you hover over, well, it was working. It lets you know the collection for small profiles. So if it's scanner, if you're going in to edit it, it's going to let you know it's in use for these collections. If you modify it, just be aware that you're not going to be impacting that too much. All right.
Or at least be aware of what the impact may be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And I suppose at this point, do we have questions?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Let's take one. Dear Jordan, does Inventory 19.blah.nerd have a built-in collection for .NET Framework 4.8? Sincerely, Thomas F.
It does now. So let's go into collections. We're going to do .NET, and you can see Microsoft .NET Framework 4.8 Plus is in the library by default.
Actually, not the library. That's one of the built-in collections. But we do also have collections in the collection library for it.
So I was way off base.
So that one's right off the bat
Hey.
when you install the product, right?
Yeah.
At least you've been saying 4.8, not 4.0 like I did. Already, so.
Yep. So it looks like within the collection library, we have one for latest, which that variable update within there. So that would be 4.8 in that one. All right. Any other questions, or it sounds like we're getting a lot of them? Okay. Okay. Well, that's pretty much it for my list. The last one is. Yep. Oh yeah, the user's mission. Yeah, kind of covering that as we're going. It's just kind of looking over. So if we go scan profiles, we just go import scanners. As you can see, this is what we imported. This is everything that has been either we built or was submitted by people. So like, I guess we'll do SMB connections.
Can you do multiple imports at the same time?
You can, but each XML is in a separate folder.
Okay.
So it just makes it, if all the XMLs moved into one folder, you could select multiple, but in this case where they're separated by name.
I just thought of something. If you go to the list of the folders and then search for like .xml, does the Windows search show you all of the XMLs?
Let's find out. Yes, it does.
Aha, that's how you can import multiple.
Yep, but they're all named, at least from the import scan profile. So if you're looking for a specific one, that's not going to help. But if you want all of them, and I'm going to create some duplicates. Will they import
Let's
those
do it.
21? Yep. Oh, it's already done.
It's done.
Oh, we're gonna have to reimage this so much this next week.
No, so actually, this is something I have tested thoroughly. If you have a duplicate scanner in there, and like in this case, the host file one, if you delete one of the scanners, if you go and just optimize the database at the preferences, database
Yeah,
optimize, that will remove the no longer used table, and it will go back to a single entity. It will kind of clean up for you.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
I will say this: just
That's it.
beware. If you do optimize that database, it's going to shut down the background service and
Yep.
abort any of your scanners.
Yeah, so no scans
Just
or anything when
beware.
you do that one. All right, so I guess now that we've got all of them imported, SMB connection, and here I'm going into it. Look at this. This is me learning. I have learned. All right, so it looks like this one's just using a test for command SMB connection, which apparently that is only Windows 8 and later. Hopefully you're all on 10. I don't think 8 is supported on any level anymore. Unless
No, 7's not supported.
yeah, well,
8.1 is still supported.
8.1, okay. Well then, I'm wrong. All right, so, but that way, that's what the error handling we talked about earlier. Basically, if it is not a Windows 10 machine, then just stop the scan there and say, hey, or if it's not a Windows 8 or later, if you have Windows 7, say, hey, this has to be 8 or later for it to work. And then it's just running the command get SMB connection. So as you can see here, he's setting the properties, server name, share name. Actually, looking at this one, did Nate build this one? I think I'm showing someone internal.
I think I built this one, but I'd have to look at the author.
All right. Well, I'm not showing you users. I guess you are a user. You use the product probably more than most.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I did build this one because I remember doing that that nested calculated property because that was kind of a fun thing that I figured out is so that you see that hash table on line 14.
Okay.
That will be
calculated property,
a calculated property.
Okay, yeah. So I've only ever used calculated properties when I was doing a select object. I didn't realize you could do it. I guess it's the same thing, right? Because you're
Yep.
doing select object.
Yep, it is select object.
Yep.
It's just a way of mixing calculated properties with just named properties.
That is pretty fantastic.
I got to say, for someone as proficient as I am in PowerShell, that translated to blah, 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 nerd.
Boy, do I have the shirt for you. Yep. And so, oh no, I didn't mean to talk over you. I was just saying, earlier we showcased where we built the PS custom object, and that worked. This was just another method where Colby defined all of the properties in a variable and then just did the select object. It's going to basically give similar results. But this one, calculated property right there, which is fantastic. All right. I guess do you want to showcase another user script, see if I can actually get one? Okay. Let's go in. Let's see. I guess I kind of already went over the the important events one. Let's see, map drive, that one was Colby. Let's see. Did I go over Chrome extensions? But that, I believe that was...
Yeah, check it, man. It's a favorite.
Well, Chrome extensions I think was Kobe as well. I'm just trying to look for someone outside. But
Outside of the company?
yeah.
I'm a co-author on that one. The original script that I based it on was posted by someone on our forum.
Oh, fantastic.
Do we know who that is? Do we want to give credit on the show?
We can look it up in the Git, I believe. Let's go to PowerShell Scanners. I've already forgot the name of it. Jerry. Jerry. So thanks for helping us out, Jerry. All right. So it looks like this one, it is setting a parameter for enable permissions, which is just a switch. So it's not really anything to input that one, I guess. Or let's see, and then going for each item within the users folder. So this is grabbing basically Chrome extensions per user then.
Yep.
That's awesome.
And,
So it's
and
not,
that enable permission switch is because the permissions parameter is a multi-line string, and it's like really ugly in inventory. So I have it disabled by default, but you can enable it if that's something that you want to put up with.
okay, so I guess if you did want to change that one, you would just go into the parameters and put dash enable permissions and then just enable, or
Nope, it's a switch. So
Oh, I
if you specify the parameter, that means it's true.
okay, all right, fantastic. So yeah, that's I'm curious to see that line now. I may run this just to see it. All right, so and then it's going into each user, and then it's grabbing what I guess is the right here, the local. That's the user data where it's stored, and then it's a preference file.
Yep, it's
Yeah.
a JSON file that is just named preferences with no extension for some reason.
Oh.
Thanks, Google.
All right. So basically, so it's testing if it's there. So basically, it's opening up a JSON file and reading what's in there and grabbing specific information.
Yep.
And then I'm not going to break down how you're reading that one. Let's just say the JSON's in there. They've done the work for us.
Yeah, the script originally used convert from JSON, which was a lot simpler. But the issue is that in Windows PowerShell, it doesn't handle properties with the same name that have different cases, such as like, if it was like Chrome and Chrome, but one started with a capital letter, it would throw an error.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this handles that. Apparently, in PowerShell Core, convert from JSON, they like fix that in Core, but we don't support PowerShell Core at this point.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I guess if we go and look at what it's grabbing, it's install time, and it converts it from a specific time zone, which I guess at default is probably the one in the Google Chrome.
Yeah, I haven't looked. I haven't researched exactly what this is, like what that format is. That's mostly original from Jerry's script.
All right, and this one is a genuine question. I've used the PS custom object. What's the difference between PS custom object and just have ordered specified there? Is that just make sure it has to go in a specific order, or is it?
That ordered is because PS custom object is it's a type accelerator that you can apply to hash tables, and because I wanted to be able to add the permissions property to it if you have it enabled, I had to split it out because it's trickier to add properties to a PS custom object once you create it. It's a lot easier to add properties to just a raw hash table and then apply the PS custom object to that hash table later. But the issue is a raw hash table, like you'll get a random order unless you specify ordered on it.
Oh, so it is still basically custom object for hash table. It's just to specify. Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Like I say, it's a good thing Colby's here because this would have been a lot of silent reading with furrowed brow while I slowly worked it out. This was much quicker.
You could have watched him work in real time.
Everybody needs a Colby in their life. It's so handy. It's so handy. All right.
Yeah, we've got 3 final questions that are unrelated to this release, but all 3 related to a new product that we released in beta on Monday. So I'm going to just kind of go through all 3 of these quickly, and I think Colby is raring to answer these questions. What is PDQ Link? Is it a VPN? a new agent? Will it make my wife love me again? That's from our good friend Gandalf. How exactly does PDQ Link work with companies that have VPN already set up? Does it set up a separate VPN network and uses its own separate agent to connect? That's from Kyle S. And our final question here is, I was told via a PDQ support ticket that the ideal source for all things pertaining to PDQ Link, especially while in beta, was at the Reddit post /nerd. Thanks to Chad for his help. Sincerely, Jeff P. Colby, take it away.
No pressure.
Yeah, so PDQ Link is a new product that we currently have in beta, and its main goal is to make it easier to set up and connect to a VPN. We are using, I believe, Microsoft RAS behind the scenes, and it's, I don't remember the exact name, it's like SSTP or something like that is the actual protocol behind the scenes, but essentially you run it, you set it up on a fresh Windows server, and then it will generate a client that you install, and then that client maintains an always-on VPN back to that server. Let me look at the specific questions that.
Well, and I was looking at that. So, and when you install the client on the users, it will automatically connect to them when they log in. So
Right.
they don't have to do anything. No setup, no clicking.
Yeah. We also try to manage the DHCP and DNS when clients connect, so that so that you can reach your VPN clients through deploy and inventory. Link does have, I think we call it a client. It's kind of an agent. It also kind of not. I'm not sure what our exact terminology is on that one, but it is a little program that manages the VPN on the client computers.
Yeah, you won't really see anything on your machine, but it will enable your deploy and inventory to reach those clients.
Right. And someone asked how it works with an existing VPN. Yes, it will be, if you use Link in conjunction with your existing VPN, you will now have two VPNs. PDQ Link requires port 443 to be forwarded on your firewall. At this time, we do not support changing that port. I think that's something we're looking into. I don't know if we'll be able to offer being able to change that port.
And one other thing, if your server doesn't have a static IP, you are going to want to have some sort of DNS service that will automatically update the external DNS when the IP changes, so your clients will have an easier time connecting.
Yeah, you'll want to use something like DIN DNS or no IP, one of those.
Yeah, but if you have static, then you're fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because your external clients do need to be able to hit your firewall. Need to be able to find you somehow.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll be able to do a webcast and go into more detail on PDQ Link. Our intention is to release it very soon. We're hoping next week. No absolute promises. We want to make sure that we've got the bugs and kinks worked out before we release, but as soon as it is released, we will be doing a webcast and kind of going through all the goodies of PDQ Link.
Yep. From what I've tested, it's been working pretty fantastic. I've been able to update my home machine, not my personal one, but the one they sent me home with. So it's been working all right for me. All right. Thanks for tuning in. The PowerShell Scanner, we kind of had it in the beta, but just seeing the growth between the beta to now, it's an ongoing process. It's great. I would definitely install the latest version of that. Just the use of PowerShell Scanners just makes everything that much better. For PDQ.com, I'm Jordan.
Thanks for joining our webcast today. Would like to congratulate Max C. and Chris S., winners of PDQ swag. Send us your info at webcast@pdq.com. Thanks again for joining us. Stay safe, and we'll see you back here next week.